Chicago Sky, my goodness gracious. Once again, celebrating Angel Reese's powerful double-double last night. We got a couple of things. We got a WNBA announcer actually clowning Angel Reese during the game. That normally doesn't happen. Did he not get the memo? You're not supposed to do that. I mean, players in this league check those boxes.
Angel Reese is used to celebrating her double-doubles. But this time, an announcer flipped the script. During Chicago Sky's latest loss, a broadcaster roasted her rebounds in a way nobody saw coming. Angel didn't let slide, and the fallout is pure chaos. Fans are split, the league is buzzing, and this story isn't slowing down. Was the announcer out of line for clowning Angel Reese, or was it fair criticism? The Chicago Sky dropped another game, 79-69, and as usual, the team tried to put a shiny bow on a disaster by highlighting Angel Reese's box score.
By the way, people gamble on these games. So last night, a double-double. Angel Reese got a double-double, and the Chicago Sky, of course, celebrated said double-double. They lost 79-69. But my goodness, that didn't stop them, of course, from putting out this tweet right here. Player of the game. I mean, last time I checked, player of the games are usually for the winning squad.
Another double-double. Another round of celebration tweets. Another attempt to distract from the fact that the team keeps losing. The Sky blasted out their player of the game posts like they had just clinched a playoff spot. Newsflash, they didn't. They lost again. You'd think someone in that social media department would realize that celebrating double-doubles while your record is sinking like the Titanic doesn't exactly scream winning culture.
Angel Reese, love those missed shot, offensive board, second opportunity.
But this time, things didn't just end with the same tired highlight reels. Instead, an announcer decided to spice things up, and by spice things up, I mean roast Angel Reese live on air. And let me tell you, the roast wasn't soft. It wasn't a little jab. It was a full-blown demolition job. The kind of comment that makes fans spit out their drinks and rewind just to make sure they heard it right. The announcer basically said Angel's double-doubles come from a strategy straight out of middle school basketball. Miss your own shots, grab the rebound, and eventually, finally, maybe score a bucket. His exact words, Angel Reese loves those missed shot offensive board second opportunities. And if Chicago is going to beat you, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to put it up, they're going to miss. They're going to put it up again. They might miss again, but eventually they're going to get a bucket.
Oh my God. Clowned Angel Reese. They're going to put it up. They might miss. They're going to put it up again. They might miss that. And then finally, eventually, maybe they will make a bucket.
You could almost hear the record scratch after that. Did he really just call Angel Reese's rebounding numbers fraudulent? Did he really just suggest her stats were built off bricks? Yep, he said it loud and clear. And that's the kind of honesty that rarely slips through in the WNBA broadcast booth. Most of the time, announcers are so terrified of offending anyone that they practically hand out participation trophies mid-game. But not this guy. He told the truth, and he told it with sarcasm dripping off every syllable. Normally, broadcasters bend over backwards to protect players' reputations. They act like pointing out flaws is some kind of crime against humanity. But this dude threw all that out the window. He basically told the world that Angel Reese's so-called dominance is nothing more than padding her numbers by missing bunnies and grabbing boards. And honestly, he's not wrong.
That's hilarious. This guy will probably be fired by tomorrow. This guy will probably lose his job by tomorrow. Once the Angel Reese fans hear the fact that he just roasted Angel Reese over her rebounds, whatever she's calling them these days. Yeah, they're going to come for him.
Let's be real for a second. Angel Reese has been celebrated nonstop for her historic streak of double-doubles. And yes, grabbing rebounds takes effort. Yes, being physical in the paint matters. But when your team's record with those double-doubles looks like a dumpster fire, maybe, just maybe, we stop pretending like you're the second coming of Dennis Rodman. Here's the stat that nobody in the Reese camp likes to hear. Her team's record when she posts a double-double. They're hovering in the ballpark of 15-32 or 15-33 when she hits those numbers. So basically, all those rebounds aren't translating into wins. But hey, let's keep posting those player of the game graphics after every loss. Nothing screams winning basketball like celebrating empty stats while the L column keeps filling up, and that's where the announcer's sarcasm hit home. He wasn't just clowning Reese for missing shots and rebounding her own bricks. He was exposing the bigger issue. The Chicago Sky's entire identity has become, we lose games, but look at Angel's double-double. It's like putting a ribbon on a trash can and calling it a gift. Angel, of course, didn't take this lightly. Reports say she was visibly frustrated after the game. And let's be honest, she probably had a few choice words for that announcer, because if there's one thing Angel Reese can't stand, it's being questioned. This is the same player who labeled her Rebounds Rebounds, like she had just reinvented basketball terminology. This is the same player who turns every slight into a personal crusade. So you already know she's plotting her next clapback moment. But let's pause for a second and give credit where it's due. The announcer wasn't just trolling. He was speaking for the fans who have been watching the Sky lose over and over while Reese's numbers get hyped like she's carrying the team on her back. If she's carrying anything, it's bricks. And those bricks are stacking higher than the Sky's win total. Now, Angels fans went ballistic. They swarmed social media, calling out the announcer for being disrespectful, biased, and, of course, the word that gets thrown around whenever anyone criticizes Reese: racist. Because apparently, pointing out that someone misses shots isn't just basketball analysis anymore. It's hate speech. And these weren't just any angry tweets. Some of her supporters went full-blown unhinged, mocking Caitlin Clark's injury, and even bringing Sophie Cunningham into the mix. They posted photoshops of Clark on crutches and Cunningham in a wheelchair, laughing at their setbacks like that somehow makes Reese look better. Newsflash, it doesn't. If anything, it makes her fan base look completely unhinged. Here's the thing. When Caitlin Clark went down with her groin injury, most people, even critics, showed concern. Nobody with common sense celebrated it. But when it comes to Angels fans, they treat other players' injuries like comedy material. And yet, they cry foul whenever someone dares to question Reese's game. Hypocrisy much? One fan even captioned a photo of Reese's critics with, "Crackers go mad again" in the comments. Real classy. Because nothing proves your point better than a little casual racism. You can scream, "Stats don't lie," all you want, but when your rebuttal is racism and memes of injured players, you've already lost the argument. And here's where the announcer's roast keeps echoing. He didn't just jab at Angel Reese's game. He exposed the hollowness of this entire stat-padding celebration culture. How many more games is this team going to lose while their social media team pumps out player of the game post for Angel? How many more times will her fans excuse mediocrity with, "But she got a double-double"? At some point, results matter. Wins matter. Championships matter. Nobody hangs banners for rebounds. Now, let's add in some sarcasm because, frankly, the situation calls for it. Angel Reese's stat line is like a McDonald's Happy Meal toy. It looks shiny. It comes in a flashy box. But deep down, you know it's cheap plastic. Sure, she's racking up numbers, but the impact on winning is non-existent. Meanwhile, players like Caitlin Clark are out here changing the game, drawing record crowds, and actually leading their teams to victories when healthy. But yeah, let's keep hyping Rebounds. And don't get me started on the Chicago obsession with hyping her up as the face of the franchise. You're telling me that a team sitting at the bottom of the standings is going to pretend like they've got a superstar carrying them? Please, that's not leadership, that's marketing. And it's the kind of marketing that insults fans' intelligence. The announcer, whether he meant to or not, put the spotlight right where it belongs, on the difference between empty stats and meaningful impact. Angel Reese can grab 15 rebounds, but if half of those come from cleaning up her own misses, what's the value? She can score 20 points, but if it takes 25 shots to get there, what's the efficiency? At some point, the numbers stop being impressive and start being misleading, and that's exactly what had Angel Reese furious. It wasn't just a comment. It was a fact that the comment exposed something she and her fan base don't want to admit, that maybe, just maybe, all those double-doubles aren't worth the hype. The fallout from that broadcast roast didn't just light a fire under Angel Reese. It exposed how fragile the entire double-double queen narrative really is. When your team keeps losing and the only talking point left is, "But look at her rebounds," you're practically begging for someone to call it out. And that announcer did exactly that. Now, here's the kicker. Instead of addressing the criticism directly, Angel's camp and her loudest supporters deflected. Rather than debating efficiency, they dragged other players into the mud. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham's names suddenly became punchlines for injuries. Lexi Ho got thrown in too, because why not? Instead of answering the roast, they turned to cheap shots, literally and figuratively. That tells you everything. If you had the numbers to shut people up, you'd use them. But when all you got is, well, at least she hustles, the conversation goes sideways fast, and fans see through it. Now, let's talk about that hustle argument. Yes, Angel Reese plays hard. She crashes a glass. She scrambles for boards. She brings energy. Nobody's denying that. But hustle without polish just creates chaos. If you're missing 3 shots before finally converting, that's not dominance. It's inefficiency disguised as effort. It's cardio with box score padding at the end of it. Meanwhile, look at the names Angel supporters keep trying to knock. Caitlin Clark, even while injured, has already proven she can change the trajectory of a franchise. She's selling out arenas, breaking ratings records, and producing wins when healthy. Sophie Cunningham, a tough vet who, despite injuries, has carved out a respected role by actually spacing the floor and making shots when they count. The contrast is obvious: impact versus empty hustle. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Reese's hype machine runs hotter than her actual on-court impact. Endorsements, headlines, social media campaigns. They've all elevated her profile. But when you strip away the branding and the me-bound slogans, what's left? A rookie forward whose efficiency is questionable, whose team is buried in the standings, and whose fans care more about clapping back on Twitter than demanding wins. The roast hit so hard because it was rooted in reality. The Chicago Sky do miss a lot of shots. They do rely on Reese to clean them up, and more often than not, those second-chance points still don't tilt games in their favor. Calling that out isn't disrespect. It's analysis. Harsh analysis, sure, but analysis nonetheless. And Angel's reaction? Predictable. She thrives on being the villain, the everybody's against me figure. But at some point, even villains have to produce results. Dennis Rodman earned his rebounds by anchoring championship defenses. Charles Barkley pulled boards while dropping 25 a night. Angel Reese? She's racking up numbers in losses and then flexing like at the parade. Fans are supposed to clap for that. What makes this whole situation even funnier is the panic it caused in WNBA media circles. Normally, broadcasters tiptoe around players like they're walking through a minefield. But one guy slips up and actually tells the truth. And suddenly the league looks like it doesn't know how to handle honesty. Expect apologies. Expect walkbacks. Maybe even expect this announcer to disappear for sensitivity training. That's how sensitive this league is about criticism. Meanwhile, Angels fans will keep posting memes, keep tossing out racist every time someone points out her inefficiency, and keep celebrating meaningless double-doubles like their banners. But none of that changes the standings. The Sky are still near the bottom, still irrelevant in the playoff picture, and still clinging to Angels' box scores like a security blanket. At the end of the day, the announcer wasn't roasting for laughs. He was telling the story fans already see with their own eyes. The Sky put up shots, they miss, they put them up again, they miss again, and if they're lucky, eventually one falls. Angel grabs boards in the process. The stat sheet looks busy, and social media calls it greatness. But greatness isn't just about numbers, it's about results. And until those results change, the roast will keep ringing true. Angel Reese's meltdown over one sarcastic announcer proves a point. Truth stings when the numbers don't back you up. Fans can scream racism, post memes, and hype me bounds all day, but wins tell the real story. Do you think the announcer should apologize, or was he just being honest? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more breakdowns.